All right, good afternoon. My name is Kevin Stack. I'm with the Berrien County Road Department in Berrien County, Michigan, in Southwest Michigan, right there. So for those of you who don't know that's referenced, I don't know if you're from the Midwest if you don't know the hand reference of Michigan. So thanks for having us today. Sorry, I got to stay ahead. I'm used to walking. So thanks for having us today. We've worked with a consultant here a little bit to go over kind of some bridge asset management, ArcGIS, and culvert management. A lot of technical stuff, but I mean, for us local agencies, this is our bread and butter because we don't have our own bridge departments that can handle bridge management and maintenance and everything that go along with that. So a little bit of background real quick before we get going about Berrien County. There you can see the reference on the map where we're located. We got about 585 square miles within our county, approximately population of 154,000 people. We sit right north of the Indiana state line and right next to Illinois and all the Chicago people. So if you're from Illinois and Chicago, stay home. No. We have 42 miles of beautiful Lake Michigan lakeshore that draw a lot of attention to our county. You can see the shape of our county and not even know our name and just recognize, hey, I know who they are. Very rarely any county has a shape like ours. We also have 86 inland lakes, 3 major navigable commercial waterways. With that comes a lot of bridges, big bridges. So that's one of our main things in there. Like I said, the unique shape. We also have a very diverse agricultural community. We grow anything and everything, from corn, soybeans, to cherries, to apples, to pickles, to cucumbers, to tomatoes, to watermelon, you name it. We probably grow it if it's there. So that brings a whole nother issue into us when we have to deal with our structures and how they need to be built and handle any of this agricultural equipment going across it. We are very diverse. We have a very rich Native American presence in our county, the Band of Potawatomi, Pokagon Potawatomi Indians. We have a lot of sites that make it very difficult when we start talking about reconstructing and disturbing undisturbed ground. We always have to get the artifact crew in there to start seeing what's in there and what's not. So that's kind of a little background about us as a county. As a road department, we have about 60 employees. That's our road technicians. Those are the guys out patching potholes, doing your snow plow, ice removal, tree removal, anything that we ask them to do. They love it. They love working with engineering. You can ask any one of them, they'll tell you that. That's what we're made up. In our front office, we have about 4 financial staff, 2 or 3 administrative assistants, and then we have 7 people in our engineering department. 4 of those are inspectors. We inspect all of our own work, whether a consultant designs it for us, we inspect it. And then we have 1 traffic safety supervisor and 1 deputized weighmaster. He's the most important guy in the office because he's the only one that gets to carry a gun. So everybody listens to what he says, otherwise it may not end well. Then we have 1 engineer, myself. So we are basically bare bones for what we have to deal with. We operate on about a $29 million budget every year. 19 to 20 of that is guaranteed. The rest is through federal aid funding through the state of Michigan or the Federal Highway Administration or township contributions. I know the state of Michigan is set up a little different than some neighboring states to where we have 83 counties in the state, and each county has a number of township local units of government that are very active. They're just not there. They actually have their own governing body and things that work with financial and funding. So we have 22 of those. That makes it very interesting to try and coordinate some things with. And then just the last line, I know there's a couple of people here from MDOT, so I'll talk nicely. No, we get along great with MDOT. They are very represented in our county alone just because of our population and location. There's about 400 miles of state trunk line and federal aid roads that are within our county. We do not want to deal with them. That's your I-94, your US 31 bypass, 6-lane highways, 4-lane highways. Yeah, they can keep those. I know some counties do the state work, and other counties or other states, they do all the county work. So we're a little unique in how we do it. But that's kind of a little bit background about Berrien County and what we are doing. Now, kind of what we're here to present about is this isn't anything brilliant. Dave will argue with me, anyone that does it, but I just classify it as I'm lazy. I like to keep it simple. I'm very busy, just like everyone else in here is trying to figure out how to manage time between survey, design, inspection, and everything in between. I don't have time to sit down in front of a computer and look at piles and piles of data from bridge inspections from that year to figure out what I need to do as far as maintenance, replacement, and rehabilitation. So that's when we started this journey back in 2019, as to how can we develop something that basically does it for me. How can I get this to say, here's my data, here's what I want to do, now tell me what I need to do to my system to make sure it lasts. So as we went into that, we got a consultant on board at that time called Culvert Group. They really started off with us. We worked with them. Reason we went with them because Dave Juntunen up here worked with MDOT for a while. So obviously we're in Michigan, so we're like, hey, this would be a perfect fit. And obviously Drew, out in the audience there, he was with Culvert Group at the time that we started this, and it was simple. You know, I have 104 bridges in my county. I need to know when I need to do something to them, period. Nothing fancy. I don't have time to look at all this data. Tell me, or have a program tell me when I need to get this done. So that's the instructions we gave, and they took it from there. So by end of our first, I call it phase, we had a bridge forecaster that allowed us to look at all of our data. So in the state of Michigan, we hire our consultants out to come in and do our bridge inspections every year on, you know, every other year inspections, or every year depending on the level of severity of them. That data goes into a statewide system called MyBridge. From that system, we can pull data out. So that's exactly what we do. We go into that system, they pull that data out, and they import it into a program that Culvert Group developed that now became MacDonald. So MacDonald owns that program that does that for us. Spits out a maintenance plan for us that our staff can do in-house, or we had to hire out. Let's face it, my staff is busy doing pothole patching and crack sealing and seal coating. We don't have time. Just like FHW head said, we don't have time to go out there and actually sit there and do your nice little flood coats to do all this stuff. So we actually look at what can we do and what can't we do. So if we had to consultant out or not. So that kind of led us into where we're at now with bringing in ArcGIS to house all this. It's a lot of data. I mean, we can sit here and talk data for days. I know everyone collects it, does the same collection. But now that we have that data, what are we going to do with it? How are we going to make it work for us as simply as possible, yet get the biggest results out of what we're doing? And so that's where we led into with all of our bridges, bringing that in, housing it to one area, and then now this year we just implemented it into our culverts. It's the hardest thing to explain to someone when they're saying, why aren't you saying that this bridge is critical? I said, because it's not a bridge. They argue, yes it is, look at it, it's a bridge. I said, I understand, but it's less than 20 feet, it's not a bridge. And they're like, you're dumb, it's a bridge, look at it. So that's the hardest thing to explain to the public when you're out there looking at it. I said, I get it, but that's not a bridge. And as far as when we get inspection. So we started on the culvert side. That's where we have thousands of structures. Being at the corner of the state, water flows downhill. Everybody's water comes through us to get out. So we have thousands of culverts that we don't even know of half of them probably. So we started a program with a consultant and said, here's the list of 800 culverts I know I have. Go inspect those, along with a collection system that MacDonald helped build us, an ArcGIS field collector. So we went out and did that, and I said, and by the way, every time you see a low spot, stop and look for a culvert. So they loved us for that because they're finding hundreds that we didn't know existed. You know, they get buried over time, they're not flowing water, but by the end of the year, we hope to have all those structures accounted for. That includes those less than 20-foot bridge culverts that are the ones that are hiding out there, that are the ones that are going to fail faster than anything. So that's where it led us into. And as we go through this a little bit, I'll let Dave go through the details of each slide by slide, kind of what the program looked like. You're going to see a lot of the ArcGIS inputs first. That data is kind of where we're housing that at for a local agency, and then at the end we'll kind of go through where we plan on going from there. Dave?
And I'm Dave Juntunen with Mott MacDonald, formerly the Culvert Group, and formerly I was with the Michigan Department of Transportation. But we've been lucky enough to work with Kevin for 4 years now. And, you know, and it was so nice to see earlier that I think it was Nancy or somebody asked, you know, people to raise their hand or it was Sarah actually, where you were from, and raise your hand if you were at a local agency. And it was nice to see people standing up because 60% of the nation's bridges are owned and maintained by local agencies. And so it's really nice to see folks like Kevin and other folks that are really starting to say, okay, I'm just not going to build a bridge and let it rot. I'm going to build it and I'm going to manage it. And so as Jorgome was saying, asset management, you have these tools, and I'm just going to show the tools. But the different tools might be needed for different people. We started out with Berrien County with spreadsheets. Spreadsheets are wonderful. And now, after 4 years, we're starting to expand to see the tools that you can use in ArcGIS, and that's what I'm just going to demonstrate here a little bit. So how many people use ArcGIS for something or other? A lot of people. And how many people, I won't ask this, but a lot of people love ArcGIS. They love or other mapping programs. We're visual people. We like to see things. And so that's our starting point, is Berrien County has 104 bridges, and the starting point, pulling the data from the DOT and showing them on a map is green, yellow, red. In bridges, you'll notice that we love, green is good, yellow is fair, red is poor. And it's not that difficult. Poor, you probably need major rehab replacement. Yellow or, fair, you probably need a preservation activity. And, green, you probably just need cyclic maintenance or some type of routine maintenance. And so that's the starting point. I want to just demonstrate what we built. This shows, the good, fair, and poor. And then in the bottom here, you're going to see the tables in ArcGIS. Now, in the bridge world, we're always going to have the bridge inventory table. INSPEVent is part of the old, Pontus BRM code. And that's your data that tells you, okay, the attributes of the bridge, how big it is, the materials it's made of. All, in the old SINA code, 113 plus items. That's, of course, changing with the SNBI. But then you also go out and inspect our bridges. You got the 0 to 9 NBI general condition ratings, and so approximately every 2 years, maybe a little less, maybe a little more, depending on the condition of the bridges. We collect that. We have a whole history of that data that you can get from the DOT. And then now we even have element data. And that's even more detailed, and we can use that data. So we're bringing that data. We used to bring it into spreadsheets. Now we're bringing it into ArcGIS. And then on top here, of course, you can't see that, and I'd be happy to demonstrate it on break for anybody that really wants to see up close to these things, is we like dashboards. And so on top here, I'm going to show, I like to break things up into a current condition or trends. That's a big part of your management. All that has to be is okay, where am I today? Where have I been? And where am I going over the past 10 years? And then on the right, you'll see a forecast. Okay, where am I going to go into the future? This slide here is just showing that there's a lot of cool tools in ArcGIS. In fact, I'm just learning to use many of them, actually. But, you can filter your bridges. Here, we're just looking at the culverts. So, if you want to know, okay, where's my good, fair, and poor culverts? My NBI length culverts is shown here. Now, I talked about the two dashboards that we set up for them. And I like to set this up no matter what system we're working in, whether it's BRM or Agile Assets or working in ArcGIS. I like to show current condition and trends. And so here's just, a dashboard where we show, the deck area and good, fair, poor. We can show it. I got a couple slides here. You can't see it very well. In fact, I'm having a tough time seeing it here. But we have a menu on bottom where we can show it by bridge type, or look at the deck conditions, or look at the superstructure conditions, or look at the substructure conditions. And then current condition dashboard. We can see that here, again, we're looking at the different types of structures. How many of these type of bridges do you have? And here, we just set a filter, so we're just looking at the current, the condition of our NBI length culverts. So all this information is just practically, as you as a manager, these are just tools. What does Kevin want to see? And make it easy. It's at your fingertips. Because just knowing you have bridges, just knowing which ones are good, fair, or poor is a big part of the battle. And then at the bottom here, the dashboard, we can get more detailed information. So we show the element data. So you can do anything you want. You can sort this perhaps just to look at my fair bridges, okay, and then my element conditions. And that might tell me, okay, where's my deck expansion joint needs? And again, it's just all brought here so it's convenient for you. When we get into elements, I find that we can manage rehab replacement with the GCRs pretty good, right? If a bridge is poor, if the deck, super, and sub are poor, it's easy. We're going to probably replace that bridge. If just the deck is poor, we might just do a deck replacement. But now when we get into the elements, we like to look at, okay, what's the condition of my bearings? What's the condition of my strip seal expansion joints? What's the condition of my paint? And this is just a slide showing that we did last year was a bridge maintenance training. And as my friend Drew Story and Jason DeRuver here came in and worked with Berrien County to do a couple days of training. And so they're talking about bridge deck cleaning, concrete bridge deck sealing, bituminous wearing surface sealing, and brush cutting. And I wanted to mention this because, one, you can manage that with elements, but there's also the thing that we created here is for Berrien County to identify their projects. Okay, so if I go out and touch a bridge, if I replace a bridge, okay, I can put that. In 2023, we're replacing so-and-so bridge. But in 2024, we're going to do deck sealing of a bridge. And we can even go into the past. And if the maintenance crews go out, okay, we have it set up so you can input your projects into it. Not only can you input your projects, you can identify what the benefit it is you get from that project. So if I replace a bridge, obviously the GCRs for the deck super sub all go to 9. But let's say I'm just sealing a deck. Okay, I can buy 6 years of service life of my bridge deck. And we have that set up in here for what we call our bridge forecaster. And so once you put all of the activities you do and you can forecast, we got it set up to forecast, I think 15 or 20 years out, that with these projects, this is what my future condition is going to be. So one, you're keeping the bookkeeping. I know that I've done work on these bridges, and I know what kind of benefit I'm getting from that. So that covers what we call Structures Manager, all built in ArcGIS. And then Kevin last year said, okay, we need to start managing our culverts, our structures less than 20 feet. And again, we turned to ArcGIS to do this and Survey 123. Now in Michigan, they have their own culvert structure inspection guide. I show it on the slide here, and it follows the AASHTO culvert and storm drain system inspection guide. And in that, they rate structures, the culverts, on a good, fair, poor, severe system, kind of like the elements. Then they rate the roadway and whether, if it's getting clogged, and what they call the appurtenances. And this is all shown on the right here. So we followed the Michigan guide, again, using ArcGIS, and we use Survey 123 to create these forms. And here, this is an example of Culvert Manager of the culverts that have been identified. This on the right, you see the actual Survey 123 form. Again, what I like about it, it's fast development. Now, you need somebody who understands ArcGIS. To get some more advanced things, you might need an actual programmer to do some Python code, but it's very rapid development. Berrien County hired Whitman Associates, a consultant, to go out and do the inspections, and they had some knowledge of ArcGIS too, so they even built upon what we originally built. If you see in green, they put in a layer so their inspectors can use the navigation to bring them to the culverts and track where they've been. Now, one lesson they learned is, okay, inspectors turn it off at night so they're not, the boss isn't tracking where you go all evening. And they also identified, okay, if the culvert was underwater, they added an item for that. And so, again, a lot of people know how to do this, so it's just getting better and better. Here's just some examples. Now, with the culvert manager, they can take pictures of the culverts. They can provide comments. These are just some examples of the actual inspections that they did to help Kevin manage his inventory of culverts. So with that, we've been able to build these tools in ArcGIS. It's kind of fun. I like it because it's fast. And with that, maybe I'll pass it on to Kevin, and he can talk about next steps a little bit.
Yeah, real quick, just to kind of bring it back around, like Dave went through all the data. I mean, that's the technical stuff that I'm just a vision. I just say what I want, and they have to go figure out how to do it. So for us, when we're going through this stuff, exactly how do we manage this? And we got all this data. How does the local agency be able to put this into play? Like I said earlier, state departments have groups that do this. I have me. So that's what I have to try and figure out is how to manage and get this structure going. So this may seem very elementary to some, but for us, it's simple. We're just using ArcGIS, we're using a bridge forecast manager, and we're now putting at the culverts to give us a maintenance plan and put all of our data into one area, because now I have to go back to 12 commissioners in our county and try and put this in layman terms. So that's where all the pretty pictures, colors, and graphs come into play. That's how you sell dollars. So that's kind of where we're going. And in the future, we're just looking at this is how we're going to do it. How do we keep this on track, and how do we make sure we're doing the right fix at the right time, making sure we're pushing our dollar the furthest we possibly can. So with that, I mean, I know we're on time, but if anyone wants to see anything afterwards, Dave would be more than happy to demonstrate it. But any questions?
Yes, over here.
Yes, I have 12 commissioners, so I'm set up real quick differently than Clare County. We're back there. So they're a road commission in the state of Michigan. I became a road department because of, stuff we don't need to know about. But we now went from, 3 to 5 commissioner board that's semi-autonomous from the actual county to actually just another county department, like your health department, your police department, your 911 dispatch. We're just another department, but we are the redheaded stepchild of the department. So 12 commissioners.